Alright, fellow Trekkies, let's dive into the quantum singularity that is Star Trek Section 31. Or as I like to call it, Wrath of Missed Opportunities. When Paramount first announced a spin-off of Michelle Yeoh's Emperor Philippa Georgiou,
Shut up, Wesley!
a morally complex character from the Star Trek Discovery universe, I was ready to set my phases to be stunned with excitement. A Section 31 series? Brilliant, that sounds like a great idea. But alas, thanks to the pandemic, production woes, the idea of a long-form TV series was reduced to a single feature-length mission. And much like a malfunctioning transporter, the transmission didn't go smoothly. Let's break it down because the movie has more issues than Wesley Crusher trying to pass his Starfleet exams. The plot. A puzzle without the corners. The story follows Georgiou dragged from the mirror universe into a shadowy Starfleet division, as she faces the sins of her past while protecting the Federation from vague, poorly explained threats. But honestly, the plot feels like it was written by a malfunctioning holodeck. Ideas appear out of nowhere, much like a rogue Klingon bird of prey decloaking, and then vanishes just as quickly. There's tech that gets introduced, but no one bothers to explain how it works. Things just happen. It's like trying to decipher a Romulan dinner menu. Frustrating and incomprehensible. And then we get the dialogue. Not funny, not clever, and totally off. I'll give credit where credit is due when it is due. However, the dialogue has moments of sparkle, but that's about it. Some quips and exchanges made me smirk. Sam Richardson as Quasi delivers some fun moments, even if he feels like he's wandered in from another movie entirely. But here's the problem. The humor often feels too modern, too self-aware, and not at all authentic to the Star Trek universe we know and love. Georgiou, once a commanding and nuanced character, now spouts lines that feel like they were plucked from a generic action movie script. And then we get the cast. A stellar crew wasted in space. Michelle Yeoh, as always, brings gravitas to her role. She delivers some fantastic moments of icy resolve and heartfelt introspection, when the script allows her to, that is. But even her legendary talent can't overcome the choppy editing and shallow character arcs. Omari Hardwick as Alok Shahar feels criminally underused, while Robert Kaczynski's Zeph is a walking stereotype of gruff, no-nonsense officer. Casey Roll as Rachel Garrett shows flashes of potential, but the film never gives her enough to do. It's like watching a crew of promising cadets stuck in a doomed simulation. None of them get to shine.
Make it so, number one.
The direction and writing. A collision course. I'm not even going to try and say the director's name because I can't, but suffice to say they worked on Star Trek Discovery, The Man in the High Castle, and they direct this with all the subtlety of a warp core breach. The fast editing during action sequences, particularly Georgiou's hand-to-hand combat sequences, is maddening. Michelle Yeoh, one of the greatest martial artists alive, but you wouldn't know it here. The fights are cut so fast you can barely tell what's happening. Imagine trying to watch a butler duel through a strobe light. The writers, Craig Sweeney, who wrote Limitless, Bo Yin Kim and Erica Lipdold, who have worked on Star Trek Discovery, seem overwhelmed by the task of cramming what should have been a season's worth of storytelling into a 2-hour runtime. The result? Characters get no development beyond Georgiou, the story feels rushed, and emotional moments land with the impact of a faulty photon torpedo. CGI and budget, a mixed bag of dilithium. Visually, the movie alternates between really creative and laughably bad. Some of the space scenes are gorgeous, with sleek starships gliding through the nebula like intergalactic ballerinas, but other effects scream budget constraints, particularly in set design. Certain interiors look like they were repurposed from the Discovery prop closet, and then the CGI-heavy sequences occasionally veer into bad video game territory, which are again hidden behind choppy editing. Heart and depth, absent without leave. One of the biggest disappointments is the film's lack of emotional depth. Star Trek has always been about more than flashy space battles. It's about exploration, morality, and the human condition. But Section 31 seems content to skim the surface. Georgiou gets a sliver of character development, but everyone else is left adrift. The emotional stakes feel as weightless as zero gravity, and the film lacks the sense of camaraderie that makes the best Star Trek story so compelling. Should have been a series. This story needed the breathing room of a TV series. Imagine the rich character arcs we could have had, the moral dilemmas explored in depth, and slow burning tension of Georgiou's navigating the shadowy world of Section 31. Instead, we get a rushed, shallow sprint that leaves behind more questions than answers. So my final verdict, a red alert for fans. In the end, Star Trek Section 31 feels like a Kobayashi Maru scenario, a no-win situation. It's a film that boldly goes nowhere. While there are flashes of brilliance, Yeoh's performance, in particular a few clever bits of dialogue, they are buried under a mountain of missed opportunities, rushed storytelling and unearned emotional beats. For science geeks and Trekkies, this one's a tough pill to swallow. To paraphrase Mr. Spock, this movie's logic is highly questionable. I'm giving it 1.5 Nicolas Cages out of 5, and that's me being generous.
You got one.
Engage at your own risk. Thanks for watching, number one, and remember, most of all, live long on Tuesday.